What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. Today I want to go over the mechanics and placement for the 6th Dimension raid in DC Universe Online. But before I get into it, please remember to hit that like, subscribe, and share button for future notifications. Thank you. There are 4 bosses in this raid: 6th Dimension Lois, Lane, 6th Dimension Superman, the World Forger, and the Anti-Monitor. In this video, I'll explain how to approach each of these bosses so you can be prepared going from event mode to normal mode and then to the elite version. Let's get started. The first fight is very simple. Lois starts the fight with ads, sending ads out. As a tank, your main job is just to pull and kite the ads back to center. Pretty self-explanatory. As DPS, you really want to get the jailers down first, because if they jail the healers or the controller, it can be problematic when you go into normal or elite version, because if they're restrained, then they cannot heal or push out power. So that is your main focus as DPS. When Lois enters the battle, ads will continuously spawn. And then in the fight, she will ask Jimmy to call down particle cannons. During this, you will see round circles on each individual. You want to block and roll out of them and try not to stack, especially when you're getting into the harder versions of this raid. The more you stack, the more it deals damage, because there's multiple coming in on that target. When you spread out, it deals less damage to the surrounding targets. The most important thing that you can do as a tank is try to keep the ads centered, so the DPS and the healers can spread out more evenly. And if you do get ads on you because they come from the back, roll towards the tank so the tank can pull the ads and then roll back out. After this fight ends, we move on through some trash and now on to 6th Dimension Superman. In this next fight, placement means everything. In this pug run, we had some difficulties with players in positioning, but it's important for the tank to pull Superman to one of the pillars. The reason being, the DPS can stack on the side where the tank is, so when Superman goes back to center, everybody's in position to avoid the AoE effect, which in normal and especially elite can kill you. So in this video, you'll see the tank pulling Superman behind the pillars. After he goes to center and does the AoE, on normal and elite versions of this raid, he will break one of the pillars randomly. If he breaks the one that you were on, you will have to reposition. If he doesn't, you can stay at that pillar. During the second phase of this fight, he will call upon the multiverse, which will spawn replicas of the statues of the iconic heroes. Now, in elite version, you really want to have it's preferred to have 2 tanks in this, so one of the tanks can pull the ads while the other main tank stays on Superman. If not, you can get bombarded. The main tank can get bombarded and become overwhelmed and die. And if that happens, the raid will wipe. On normal version, a tank that is fully spec'd can pull this off. However, it is still a difficult challenge. You do not want to stack as DPS or healers. You want to spread out still on opposite sides of the tank. Focus the ads down first. then redirect your attention to Superman before the next pillar breaks. At any time, if Superman focuses beam on you, you can either hold block or use the pillar to break the beam by rolling around it. After Superman, you will exit and then take on the World Forger. In this next fight, it is a lot of pressure on the tank. Mainly, the tank wants to keep the World Forger taunted, but position him so when ads come up, he can pull the ads off to the side. At different points in the fight, the World Forger will go to the left of the screen and slam his hammer down on the anvil. When that happens, he's charging for a vortex attack that when he leaps into the air and comes down, he'll do a hammer AoE followed by a vortex. You can survive the AoE as far as the slam down, but if you get caught in the vortex, because it'll stun you. If you're not shielded and you're not out of it, the follow-up vortex will kill you. Now, why this is so tank heavy is because there's going to be pools that spawn randomly on the ground. If the tank, the healer, or anybody hits these pools, they will be transformed for a short period of time in which they cannot use any abilities. It is detrimental for the tank to try to position the ads outside of the pools without getting hit, and the DPS to avoid such as well, even your healers and trolls. If done correctly, it's pretty much an easier fight just to know what to look for and where to look for it. The last fight ends with the anti-monitor. Now, the anti-monitor, especially on normal or elite, you do not want to use orbital strikes. The biggest thing about this is after the first phase, pools will spawn, like little safe areas. You'll get notification on the screen. They have their blue ground effects that have swirls around them. There's going to be 3. Now, the tank should occupy the middle while the DPS trolls split off onto the sides. It's very, very important because if you are not in those safe zones, it takes away from your power. If you lose power, you can't cast abilities, and that is detrimental, especially for controllers and healers. During the fight, he will focus a beam on a player. This needs to be blocked because the damage will actually be redirected. You'll see other beams coming off, and those will kill random players. So at any time, if you see a main focus beam or side beams on you, you need to block, because the damage you're dealing as a DPS is being redirected to the target. So it's not him killing the player that he's mainly got a beam on, it's his team. So anytime you see a beam on you, you stop what you're doing. This is very, very, very important. Other than that, it's just about repositioning. The tank will swoop up the ads, go back to the center. At the time that he does, he's most vulnerable because he's going to be losing power due to the being outside of the safe zone. Once he gets back to the safe zone, it's just go ahead and rinse and repeat. The safe zones will switch. You do not want to stand in the ones that are not safe anymore, because those will also drain you and magnify the damage of the pull of the beams that he does. Once you get placement down and relocation, The fight is very, very much simpler than it looks, but once again, a lot of people do not know how to position, and that's what causes wipes. Once you get positioning down, it's pretty cakewalk as far as mechanics, but if you use an orbital strike during a beam, it will actually wipe the entire party because all that damage just gets redistributed. Okay, so no orbital strikes. I want to thank you guys for watching this guide. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. As always, I'm Mystic Raven. This is Mystics MMOs. Have a nice day.